Chapter 7, Part 2, Differentiation and Competitive Advantage. So differentiation is the process of identifying something that is different about your firm or your product in comparison to competitors, and also desired by consumers. It's important to consumers. So you can see, like there in the example, that fish is very different. It's green in comparison to the other goldfish. So the most profitable marketing strategies are based on effective differentiation. In other words, offering consumers something they value that competitors do not have. And it is the cornerstone of positioning. Differentiation is what makes positioning work. It's the key. So to find points of differentiation, marketers must think through the customer's entire experience with a company's brand, product or service, and this will help them to find places where they can be different or where they are different and things that they can focus their positioning on. Let's use a bank as an example. So what are all the different places that people interact with a bank? Let's think through some of the processes. Well, you draw money from an ATM, so that's one place where your bank can add a difference, make a difference. Also, there's tellers where you go and draw money. That's another place you can make a difference. Then there's speaking to consultants about opening new bank accounts and things like that. And of course, there's speaking to representatives of the bank on the telephone. Obviously, there's swiping your card when you buy things at the store, and also the online banking and all those areas. And there's more. You know, you can use your cell phone and various other places you can engage with the bank. But in all those areas, there can be a difference. There can be this bank can make a difference. In this case, FNB, in comparison to other banks. Let's consider some of the differentiating variables of CPUT. What makes CPUT different from other universities? Well, it's in the city of Cape Town. That's certainly different from other universities. It's right in the city. It's also cheaper than many other universities, at least the traditional ones. It offers very practical education. It has very good relationships with the industry, which enables the university to offer internships to its students. And it has 5 different campuses all over the Western Cape. And it has less stringent acceptance criteria. In other words, it's easier to be accepted at CPUT than at many other universities. So competitive advantage is an advantage over competitors gained by offering consumers greater value. It's an advantage over competitors, like that pawn is boxing the king. All right. Advantage over competitors gained by offering them something of greater value, either by lowering your prices for the same value as competitors, or by providing more benefits to the customer in order to justify higher prices. So although there are many things that can differentiate one's firm or product from another, there is usually only one that will be considered your competitive advantage. So listen to that. There can be many things that make your product different, but there's usually only one that will give you a competitive advantage, or will be considered your competitive advantage. Okay, so let's look at an example here. Now, what makes this basketball player different? What makes this basketball player different? Well, it's clear that what makes this basketball player different is her height. Okay? It's a physical difference, right? But that is not the same as her competitive advantage. competitive advantage. Her competitive advantage is that she has a wider reach. She can easily reach the ball, right, where this other person, smaller one, won't be able to. So what makes her different is her height, but what gives her an advantage is that she has a wider reach. Okay? Then, let's look at this example. So here, we have what makes this runner different. Well, he has running shoes. Okay? So the differentiation is that he has shoes. Right? But the competitive advantage, right, is what? The shoes give him something that the other guy without shoes doesn't have, and that is better grip. Right, so the differentiation is his shoes, but his competitive advantage that the shoes give him is better grip. Okay, so that's how differentiation and competitive advantage work together. And in order to determine if a differentiating variable can be considered a competitive advantage, it first needs to be evaluated against 4 criteria. Number 1, is the differentiating variable or characteristic desired by consumers? Very important. Does it matter to them? Number 2, if you can sustain the advantage over an extended period of time, can you actually sustain it over time, or is it only going to be a difference this month? Can it be a difference for your brand, product, or service forever in the long term? Number 3, can you manufacture and market the product at a price consumers are willing to pay? In other words, you might be able to make a very different car or a very different laptop, but it might be so expensive that people are not willing to pay for it. So you have to be able to make this difference at a price people are willing to pay. And lastly, is it profitable? Those 4 criteria need to be met before a differentiating variable can be considered a competitive advantage. Okay? And if you do find a differentiating variable that does answer yes to all these questions, then it should be form the basis of a positioning strategy. Okay, let's look at CPUT again, and we look at them in the context, those differentiation variables I shared with you. Let's look at them in context of these criteria. So firstly, in Cape Town, is it desired by people? Yes, it is. Is it sustainable? Well, yes, we can offer it, but so can other people. So it's not really sustainable in that sense. In other words, it's not the only thing that it's not going to be different from other companies if they also open up in Cape Town. Then we're not different in that way anymore. Is it affordable? Yes. Is it profitable? Okay, so no. Then we have cheaper. It's cheaper, yes, but other companies can also be cheaper, other universities. Alright? Quite easily. Does it make it profitable in the long run? Not necessarily. Practical education. Now, this is important. Yes, it's desired, but not all universities can offer practical education the way CPUT does. It takes a lot of experience. It takes a lot of good staff members that have practical experience. It takes very important links with the industry. So it's not very easy for other universities to offer that. Okay, so we got yes on all fronts there. And again, industry relationships. It's not simple to form industry relationships. So yes, that can be a differentiating variable. Multiple campuses. No, other universities can also offer multiple campuses. So that's not sustainable. And we can't continue to just, CPUT can't just open campuses forever, because that won't make it profitable. And lastly, lower acceptance criteria, also not sustainable, because CPUT can't lower its criteria forever, and other universities can also offer that. So over there we can start to see that what makes CPUT different and what can be considered its competitive advantage, even though there's many things that make CPUT different, that which can be considered its competitive advantage is connected to the practical education it provides and the industry relationships it has. Other universities struggle to offer those things as well. And here we can see some examples of CPUT's advertising that focuses on that competitive advantage. Over there you can see some students working practically with microscopes, and you can see the title, Creating Futures. So it's saying, we're creating your future by giving you practical education. Over there we can see some students on in the one picture they are kind of like just a student with their student clothes, and in the other picture they are some form of professional. Right? So CPT is saying, we're not just giving you degrees, we are turning you into professionals that are going to work in specific industries. And over here again, we want there's an example that says, do you want to make the world sparkle? So it's saying, hey, we're offering you a practical education which is going to teach you how to develop jewelry. So that's for the jewelry design course. Okay, so CPUT's advertising is also focusing on that competitive advantage, practical education. Okay, a firm gains a competitive advantage if it succeeds in positioning itself as providing superior value to its target markets. Therefore, it's very important that marketers understand the needs and the processes that consumers use to shop. Right? So therefore, it's very important that you do good marketing research, chapter 5, and have a very good understanding of consumer behavior, chapter 3, when they plan their differentiation and positioning strategies. And I highly recommend you self-study the section number 5, classifying industries according to their potential for differentiation and competitive advantage.